What's going on, folks? How you guys doing? What the heck is this? What the heck is this Twitter circle thing? Yeah, I've heard about. Actually, I was watching a podcast today, and they were talking about how different Twitter circle is. It's an interesting way how to utilize Twitter if you want to have your own pocket of folks and you only talk to them privately, sort of. Let's find out what this Twitter circle is all about. All right. Thank you very much for joining me for Cocktails with Chello, episode 30. This is going to be an interesting one already, as you could tell. Well, just get it out the way. All opinions are solely my own and do not reflect the opinions of my employer, mainly because I work for the second largest waste company in the nation. And if we haven't met already, my name is Marcello Arcele. I provide recycling and waste services for businesses right here in Metro Atlanta. If you need help with that, tune in to the end of the show. I'll give you my contact information and I'll handle it from here. So now, the interesting thing is I heard about this Twitter circles. It's been in beta for some time now. I guess I got lucky because I'm on Twitter Blue. I utilize that service and I've been using it. It's interesting. It's almost like, imagine if you were able to have your own like text stream. You know, when you create a text stream with so many people and you're talking and you're going back and forth, and the topic could go anyway but straight, you know. Next thing you know, 2 months later, you forgot how this Twitter stream or text stream started. The interesting part about Twitter circles is, and I'm going to play someone, a lady named Allison Sheridan from Podfeet. Definitely recommend you to connect with her. She has a great Mac podcast. I'm a Mac fool, so she has great insight on that. Tom Merritt and Sarah Lane is going to be sharing their insight. So the way it works is, I create a circle. I invite you to the circle. You could reply to the comments in my circle. Like let's say if I ask, what do you think about Twitter circle? You could reply, you could give your input, and other people give their input on that. However, that's the stream and that's the thread. I'm sure many of you guys that use Twitter understand the concept of a thread. So that's essentially what it is. So that thread starts on that topic and it doesn't change. If you want to have your own thread or circle, then you have to create your own circle and then invite myself and other folks, and then you can start another conversation. But it has its own, it's in its own sandbox. So if you use Twitter, it's something to consider. So, and I know folks are you know, hit or miss when it comes down to Twitter. So yeah, I see that. Hey, what's going on? Frisco, Texas in the building. Ms. Yolanda, thank you very much for coming through. I see Don is in the building. Thank you very much for coming through. I know Don is a techie because he recognized Ant right away. I don't know Ant personally, but I've had an opportunity to connect with him, and we've had great discussions offline. So I consider him a friend. So I'm glad that he came through and supports the channel when he can. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Florence is in the building as well, and Yolanda Chen, thank you very much for coming through. Hey, and this is day 3 of LEDA, which is live every day in August. Can you believe it? One more day and the month is over. We're in fall football season. And Houston is and H-Town is in the building. All right, enough with the yapping. Let me show you what Twitter circles is all about.
Twitter is rolling out the Circle feature to all users to help people feel more comfortable tweeting and expressing themselves. Twitter Circles is a close friends feature similar to Instagram's, where tweets can be viewable to only a smaller circle of up to 150 followers. If you see a green badge under a tweet, that means it was posted to a circle and you were included.
And that's kind of neat. So whenever you see that tweet, it'll show up. And I'm guessing, and Don, let me know if this is the case for you as well. It should show up in your regular feed. And the only way you could denote that tweet was a part of a circle is by that line, that indication. Only people's in Chello's circle could see this tweet. Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, Don, Ann is a good dude. I mean, you could just tell he has a big heart.
Now, you can't control who puts you in a circle. You also aren't going to be notified if they put you in one or take you out of one. But you also can't retweet a post from a circle. It's like a locked down Twitter account in that respect. In fact, Twitter is probably doing this to keep people from locking down their accounts. They're like, we want you to be out on the open Twitter. Here, we'll give you this middle ground.
In lockdown, what he's talking about is you could do that also here on LinkedIn, set it up privately. So essentially, setting up your account that is private, so only people in your followers or friends can see your tweets. So essentially, you're creating a private section of your account within your public account. It gets a little bit more convoluted than that. It's simple to understand once you understand the foundation, but it could be a bit confusing.
As a way in between. And Twitter also doesn't allow you to leave someone else's circle any more than they allow you to stop them from replying you. If you don't want to be in their circle, you got to block them or mute them or something like that. Twitter revealed early tests of the feature showed users with circles tweeted more overall and got more likes and replies, thanks to sharing with a smaller group, as well as eliminating the need for a secondary private account to switch back and forth from.
The interesting part about it, and I think they covered this on this show. So let's, for instance, you see a tweet like the tweet that you saw a moment ago. And sometimes, you like to retweet tweets, not in a circle.
So Tom, I have questions. So you end up in multiple circles, but only one is yours. Like I can have circles and put you in it, and you can have a circle and put me in it. So I'm actually in two circles, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say in my circle, I say something and you can reply to that within the circle, or you can like it and make comments and stuff. Can you also generate a new tweet inside that circle that is my circle?
Not to your circle, no.
Okay.
And you follow what she's saying. She's created the circle, so she's the queen, the originator. So whatever she says, essentially, this is how I see circles. I see circles like a soapbox. This is what I want to talk about, and I'm going to push it out. You share your comments. Essentially, it's like anything else in social media, but no one can share it. But all they could do is add to it, which is good. I guess think about this. If you want to get ideas off the ground and you're thinking about, let's say for instance, if I'm thinking about moving to Houston, Texas, and I got folks that I'm connected with, I can send messages to folks about that to my circle, and they can give me topics or feedback on Houston only.
As a reply, yes.
You can, if you
we can talk all day
to the original tweet that was was limited to the circle,
but
then
no,
your reply.
If Tom's
will be
like, you know what, cool conversation, but I have a different one I want to start, that would be his own circle.
Yeah. So here's what's happening right now. All of Twitter is a circle, and the only way to limit who gets to see your tweet is to lock down your account, to say only people I approve get to see my account. And in that respect, yes, same thing. I can't create a tweet to your locked down account, right?
Right.
I can't create a tweet that only people who you've allowed to see your locked account, if I create a tweet, I can only control who sees it from my end. Circles is just saying, well, let's give you a subset of all of Twitter that's between locking your account, and so you don't have to lock your account, and the full overall set of everything in Twitter.
But you
So
also can't retweet something.
It's not
I
a
tweet,
circle
right?
like Google Plus. It's not
You
a
can't
group.
retweet something.
If
no,
you to do
not
what
outside the
you're
circle.
to do what you're talking about,
I'm curious, any folks that are using that is on here watching live or watching a replay, let me know if you ever use a service called Path, P-A-T-H, or like what he just said, the Google, I forgot what he mentioned a moment ago. Maybe,
is
go
a
back.
community. They actually have that on set of everything in Twitter.
But you
So
also can't
not
retweet something.
It's not
I
a
tweet,
circle
right?
like Google Plus. It's not
You
a
can't
group.
Yeah,
retweet
remember that
something.
Google Plus
You-
back in the
to
day?
do
Not
what
outside the
you're-
circle.
To do what you're talking about is a community. They actually have that on Twitter. You can have a
Right.
community, and then you can include people in the community, and
And communities are like groups in LinkedIn.
other people in the community can add people in the community. And when you tweet within the community, it stays within the community, but anybody can start a tweet in that community. Circles is, I want to say this to just a few people.
So only for original thought. That must not be for me because I'm all about regurgitating what I saw.
You could retweet something to your circle.
I mean, if think about it this
Oh,
way,
I see what you're saying.
Allison.
So if I gotta-
if you and Tom and me and Roger and the DTNS and Podfeet teams just kind of wanted to have a conversation that is more or less a group text, this would be the way to do this using Twitter.
But a group text is you could create a unique text and you can't because it's my circle.
Well, exactly.
So maybe
and
that's more
that's why
communities.
this whole thing falls apart a little bit for me.
But you can just reply. If you reply to the original, basically a group text is just replying to the original message. So
So it's not that different, but it's sort of like I worry because I asked a couple people. I pulled some like Twitter users, like, do you guys want to use this? And they were like, but you could still screenshot sensitive material. I mean, so
Yeah,
Twitter circles doesn't sound good. Sure, if you're sharing sensitive material, that is always the case.
this is not Signal. This is I don't want drive-by random.
In Signal, when he mentioned about Signal, it's is an encrypted end-to-end communication, similar to like WhatsApp, but this is known to be like the de facto end-to-end communication. A lot of individuals that either fear for their life or different countries were looking for them. I forgot, and let me know, Don, if you remember the gentleman that was overseas that people were trying to extradite him. He used, or individuals could use Signal, so you could literally communicate with someone end to end, and they have to have a passcode or a key to get that, be able to read that message. Now, the benefit too is also, for instance, if you were a whistleblower for an organization and you know that something was happening within your company, and you wanted to share information under the whistleblower rule or law, Signal could be a good tool to use to communicate, knowing that whomever uses that information, only they opened it.
Randos to see me posting about black licorice and start hating on me. I just, if
By the
Sarah
way,
hates
Tom,
on me for it, it's fine.
black licorice. God,
because we like each other.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I don't need 1,000 people seeing that tweet and jumping on it.
Or just me kind of saying, okay, I get a general sense of, who responds to this or that, but maybe just a few people on Twitter care about this other aspect of my life. That's pretty normal. It always hurts.
If you're watching me in live or in the replay, let me know if you use Twitter, and if so, put your handle. I'll follow you and we can follow each other. For the most part, I repurpose a lot of the content that I put here, but sometimes I do have original thought that I only share on Twitter. So let me know if you are on Twitter. Share it. Yeah, there you go. Julian Assange. There you go. Yep. Or Snowden. Yep. Those are the folks that really promoted Signal to the forefront. And when they were talking about those two individuals in the news, they always mentioned Signal as a protocol that they utilize to communicate. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Lewis? Thank you very much for joining us. we're talking about Twitter Circle. So if you're just tuning in right now, we're talking about Twitter Circle, which is something that just got rolled out to the masses publicly. It's been in beta for some time now, for several months now, but they're talking about how Twitter Circle works and how you can implement it in your day-to-day social media. So I'm curious to know if you're using it. If you're watching me in the live, let me know if you're using Twitter Circle. Let me know if you're using Twitter. Share your handle. And also, if you're watching me in the replay, the same thing applies. Let me know if you're using Twitter. Share your handle. And if you're using Twitter Circle. And let me know how's that working for you.
Harkens back to the days of more private social networks like Path, where you kind of went like, okay, cool, yeah. It's just like a 10 to 15, maybe 100, at their heyday, like friends who kind of see a little bit more personal.
Yeah, so Path was similar to Circle. They started with 30 people that you could use, and this we're talking about at least 10 years ago. And it was so much uproar, like, oh gosh, I like to have more folks. And they eventually grew up to, I think, like Sarah said, up to 100 people that you could have on the platform. And I think there was also, you would have to pay for that platform. And then lastly, that was an invite-only platform.
Personal stuff from me, maybe it's a little bit less self-promotional. All of that, if you're on the internet for very long, that can be that can feel liberating, but it doesn't. It's not a place to send each other sensitive information. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I totally get the need for this, which is I want to say this in the pub, not out in the public square, right? I want to say it to my friends, and maybe I've got 100 people I want to say it to, but I don't want everybody to hear it and interrupt and go, well, you know what I think about that. So you have a circle, right? I get it. Here's the thing. I got circles in the beta test. I've had it for months. I used it once until today. Now I've used it twice. So I don't know. Maybe it's not that useful.
But you're not one of those private people who lock their accounts down. And if they're just trying to get those people, maybe they'll love it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's going to work for them.
Well, moving on, restofworld.org.
Yeah, so I'm curious what you guys think about Twitter Circle. Is that something that you'll be implementing? It's free now, so you might as well, you can consider that. If you haven't been using Twitter, then this could be that extra layer of pseudo protection, if you want to consider that you can still have a public account. You could utilize that. It's just another place that you plant your flag, and you could promote whatever you want to promote. But however, you can have your individual circles, and according to Twitter, it's private, so only the folks in the circle know of says circles. You could even add celebrities, anyone to the circle. Doesn't really mean that they're going to respond, but they could. But they, as you heard earlier, they cannot remove themselves from the circle. Who knows? I'm sure that's going to change down the road, because it's kind of, ridiculous that you can't be removed from a circle if you don't want to be a part of a circle. I think about what was these, not hashtags, but it was something like, I've done this before on Twitter. Like I'll type in like hashtag waste services or waste management, and list. That's what it's called, list. So on Twitter, there's something called list, and you could put in a certain keyword or hashtag. So whenever that comes up on LinkedIn, on Twitter, these tweets will come up on that list. The benefit to you is, rather than you combing your feed, you can specifically go to these individual lists to see information that is relevant to either your career or your interests. So that's something to consider. The reason why I bring that up is because I remember one time someone sent me a message directly like, why do you have me on this list? And I had to explain to them that you must have tweeted in the past and used waste or waste management. So hence why you got added to this list, because your tweet matched that criteria. So let me know if you guys use it. I see that Florence doesn't use Twitter. Hey, it's not for everybody. I get it. Now, as I said earlier in the beginning of the show, my name is Chello. I provide recycling and waste services for businesses right here in Metro Atlanta. My focus is logistical, or logistic companies, also manufacturing and industrial companies. My goal is to make sure that the solution that's in place is safe, secure, and helps reduce their downtime. If that sounds like you, or you know someone that might need my help, have them give me a call directly. My number is 678-683-9136. Guess what? LEDA is going to be over tomorrow. I'll see what I'll be I'll consider what I'll be doing going forward. I don't plan to do it every single day like I used to, but I might do a weekly show or I might do a monthly show. Let me know. Share it in the comments. Send me a direct message. Or if you're interested in joining me on having discussions, you could either join me on the live. I'll give you a link. You could be right next to me and we can have a conversation and folks can see it. If you have something to promote, let me know. I'd love to help promote it for you. And then lastly, if you don't want to be on video, you could dial. You can give me a call and people could hear you and you can still get on the show if you like. So let me know your thoughts of future shows or even ideas of collaborating. And then lastly, of the cadence that you'd like to, you be interested, because I appreciate you supporting me, watching the show. But at the same time, after a while it becomes noise. So I'm like, oh, okay, that guy again. he's on that thing. Let me see what he is. Let me type in, hey, I'm here. And then you bounce. So thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate your support. Love you guys.